Good day. Are you interested in trying Just for Men hair coloring and wondering how it actually works and if it does work at all? Well, I know I was because of this train wreck. And so what I did is I watched a pile of videos trying to understand what it did. And that's mostly because when I was younger, they used to run their ad campaign said, look, this is not hair dye. The hair dye is for women. Just for Men is only for men, and it only works on men. And what it does, it's different from women, is instead of coating the hair and coloring it, what it actually does is break into the hair and it refills the hair follicle with a chemical that brings back your natural color. Sounds great. The only problem with it is that's really just inaccurate. So let me explain very briefly what I've learned from watching all of the training videos that Just for Men has for their different products, from Original to GX. And watching a bunch of other people's videos on how the product worked for them, most of which were not very good. They didn't really explain what happened, and they didn't really explain how things work and what to look out for. So hopefully I can do a little bit better job, and this can save you some pain and suffering. Not that there's a lot, but there's a few things to know. So the first thing is, what's the difference between men's hair color and women's hair color? Well, the short version is that very little. The big difference is that women's hair coloring typically has 2 stages and men's hair coloring typically has 1. The first stage goes into the hair follicle and strips out the melanin or some word like that. I'm sorry, it's not really important what it is, but it strips it out, which kills basically the original color. It's like you bleach it out, you just kill it. And then you get to the second stage, which is also what Just for Men is, which is hair dye. And what that hair dye does is it goes into your hair, and that's why it can't be washed out. It's actually in, not on. So that's why it's permanent. To get to the question of can women use it? Yes, women can use Just for Men, as from the research I've found, and many women do. The reason why most women don't use Just for Men is because typically women want to go into the office as a blonde one day and come out the next day as a brunette. In my case, and I think in most men's cases, and obviously the company that produces Just for Men thinks this as well, most guys don't want to go into the office looking like this on Monday and then come out on Tuesday as a redhead or whatever. They want to see it slower. So that's the big difference between men's and women's hair coloring. So then we're on to different products. Well, Just for Men has a number of dye products that are just straight dyes. I'm not interested in those. What I was interested in was the wash-in product, which is called Just for Men GX, or GX, what's it called? Just for Men Control GX. And here we'll show you the box a bit. Really nothing exciting on it. And the reason I wanted that was because it washes in slowly. So the short version of the instructions are, you use this every day for 2 weeks, and then after that you wash it 2 to 3 times a week. So every other day, plus missing a day here or there, to maintain it once you get it to the level that you want it to be. And there are a number of issues with this. The first thing is, when you watch the training videos, they all tell you really need to use the color selector. And more importantly, because it's permanent, you really want to use a lighter color than what the color selector comes up with, because you can always make it darker. That's the logic. And that all makes sense to me, except I'm in IT, as you can see. And I'd like to interject for just 10 seconds and ask you to click like if you found this video useful. Our site is dedicated to explaining technology in simple ways and providing cookbook answers for technical problems. We spend a lot of time on Windows 10 and Windows Server. We spend a lot of time on Azure, Office 365, but mostly our products are about how-tos. Lots and lots of cookbooks, like how to uninstall something when it's stuck. If you would click subscribe, we would greatly appreciate it. It really helps us with the Google algorithm. Thanks for your help, and back to the show. I can't find that color selector anywhere. I Binged it, I Googled it, I went through manually the Just for Men website. I can't find it. So if it still exists, it's a mystery to me. So in the end, what I decided to do was go to my local drugstore and see what products they actually had. And it turned out it's pretty simple. they had 3 Control GX products. The first I dispensed with because it was an all-in-one conditioner, all the color, and shampoo product, and I didn't want that. I've never used conditioner in the past, and as you can see, it's worked out great for me. And yeah, so anyway, I dispensed with that one, and then there were 2 other products, this being one of them, and what it says is, this is for people with lighter hair. And then there's other boxes for people with darker hair color. So that's blonde to medium brown and medium brown to black hair. That's the 2 different categories. All right. Now they both had a warning on them saying that, and this is important for some people, if you are a natural redhead or you are naturally very blonde, the results may vary. In other words, might not work. Fortunately, the product's $10. Give it a shot. It doesn't sound like it's going to do any damage, so why not? Okay, so now we get to the question of how do you actually start using it? And there's a couple of things that they suggest. In addition to choosing the lighter product first, if that's if you don't really know what to start with, use the lighter one. They suggest that you get a haircut. And the 2 reasons for that. One, when you get a haircut, your hair is going to be darker naturally anyway. Typically, the lighter stuff is further out. Secondly, it'll be less noticeable when you go into the office the next day and find that your hair color, people to start noticing that your hair has changed. So basically, you've got a big change already, so it's less of a stretch for people. The second reason to do that is that the product, and I've not opened this before, so let's open it together. Here we go. Yeah, that's about what I thought. It's tiny, 118 milliliters, so that is not a big bottle at all. And you're obviously going to use less if you have less hair. So getting a haircut beforehand, just a good idea. The next thing to note is, and you need to know this before you try it the first time, is use the palm of your hand. So you take the product, you squidge it out, and you use the palm of your hand, not your fingers. And the reason is, it's dye. And you know what lights dye? Your fingernails. So unless you want your fingernails to be dark, you probably want to use the palm of your hand, and then you're on your way. And the last thing we're going to talk about before actually getting into this is how long you leave it in. So you're supposed to leave it in your hair for 1 minute. That's what the box says. Now I watched a bunch of other guys say they've left it in for up to 3 minutes and not had a problem. So I don't think the 1 minute's some crazy time limit you need to freak out about. You don't want to leave it in for half an hour because, you'll probably end up with some like brown spot right here where the soap was. And you don't want that, right? So you don't want to look like a moron with the big blotchy spots, right? So wash it out and do that for 2 weeks solid. And then after that, it should be at about the color it's going to get to. And if it's not at the color and you want it to be darker than it is, well, go get the other stuff. It's just another $10 and get the darker Control GX, just for men, and start giving that a try. If it's the shade you want it to be, stop using it every day and use it every other day, or they say a couple of times a week. So I'll show you the before situation, and then we'll get into washing it over the next few weeks. And I'll take a picture every few days and we'll blend it in, see what you get. So you can see here, this is my hair. Very exciting, I know, very sexy. So that's it, and you can see it's gray all the way down to the base, and a lot of parts here like up at the front, like a lot of men. I'm going to go get a haircut in the next day, and then I will start using Control GX to wash that gray away. Oh, one other thing they suggest, which I suppose I'll do today, is they suggest that you take this and put it on a part of your skin that's not noticeable, just to make sure you're not going to have a reaction to it. Seems very unlikely, but if you've got skin issues, or just one of those rare cases, you might. So put it on 2 days beforehand. It says 2 days, and make sure that you don't have some sort of weird reaction on your skin, because you don't want that in your head. That's not funny. All right, I've got my haircut, as you can see. Pretty impressive, huh? Yeah. So you can see there's still lots and lots of gray, and there's lots of work to be done here. So let's take the product and this is again just for men Control GX. I tested it on my arm. So you're supposed to test it for 2 days. I only tested it for 1, but I put some on my arm, and you can see I have no redness and nothing to worry about, which is not a surprise. I don't have any skin issues in particular. Now there's, you're not going to really care, you'll figure this out on your own, but there's a little safety seal. So you have to crack the safety seal. There it is. And pull that off, okay? Before you use it. Other than that, you're pretty much good to go. All right, let's get to it and do some time lapse here and see what it looks like over the next couple of weeks. So day 3, yay! Didn't notice a whole lot of change day 1 or day 2. Obviously didn't notice a whole lot of change in day 3 either, and that's because there's not supposed to be. The GX product, Control GX Just for Men, is supposed to be a slow process, and it's going to be apparently about 2 weeks. I live with myself, which I know is hard for many people to understand, but I do. And as a result, I may not notice changes that are actually there. So I thought it was good to do a day 3 thing, and I'll just show you what's there. And maybe you'll see something that I haven't. A couple of things I've noticed so far. One, there's no notable smell. I heard a couple of people in other videos say that they detected a scent that they weren't a fan of. If there is one, I don't smell it. Also, I did notice that when scrubbing my hair, right, to get the shampoo in, that I ended up using my fingers for a fair amount of it and digging in, because that's just what I like to do. And I just washed it off instantly. So if there was dye, it doesn't get on there and stay very long. So that's the second thing. The third thing was, I did notice that there were a few drips of shampoo, just spatter, that had come off, and from whatever, from either washing off my hair or doing that thing, scrubbing it in. And I did notice there were a few drops of shampoo that were on the walls of the shower, and I did notice that they were much darker than regular shampoo. So I think it probably is important to get those off, within a few minutes. Before they set into whatever material they're on. If you have an acrylic tub, it can get into that acrylic, that kind of stuff. You just want to make sure that there's no dye there. I haven't noticed any problems. It wasn't any problem to just, rinse them off, and they just came off just like regular shampoo. But I did notice that they were there, and I thought it was worth mentioning. Okay, so I will see you again in another 2 or 3 days. Well, let's go with another 3 days or so, and let's see how it goes. So here we are at day 5. And looks like there's a notable change, I think. Hard to say for sure. And it is getting closer to the color that I remember my hair actually being before I had my girls, and they made me go gray. That's what happens. Okay, so here we are at day 7. Nothing much to say, just show you what it looks like. I think it's doing something. I'm really not going to be able to tell until the end. In fact, you watching this will already know more than me because you'll see the change happen quicker. I'm looking at this quite slowly, and I really don't see very much. So this is about day 10, and here we are at day 12. So only 2 more days to go. All right, day 13. Let's take a little look. So, what do you think? I'll put up some pictures here so you can see the differences as time goes by. I'm stopping at this point. I'm going to go to 2 days a week, as it suggests. So I'm stopping a day early because they said to go for 14 days. But I think this is about as non-gray as I would like it. Now, there are a couple of things to note before you wrap this up. One is they explain that you should make sure that you're using they say an older towel that isn't white. I'm using a nice new towel, it's fine. Just mine's dark blue. Obviously, if there's potential to have dye come off, you really don't want it to go on your white towel, but you wouldn't notice on a black or a dark blue towel or anything like that. I don't know that anything's coming off anyway. I don't think you should be overly concerned, but just be aware of it. Another thing is to make sure that you are ensuring any of the splashes of the Just for Men Control GX shampoo that's come off your head and has landed on your tub or on your shower stall is wiped off. It is a dye, and you're probably not going to be too keen to have a dye spot, a dark spot on your acrylic tub or your backsplash or whatever, however you're doing it. So at this point, we're going to wrap it up with a comment that I believe that this has been a success, that the transition from really heavy gray to lighter gray, limited gray, has been exactly what I was looking for. It caused no difficulties to me or my house. It didn't smell, it didn't have any issues. Oh, one last thing is they tell you to use the palms of your hand to brush the, squidge the shampoo in. I use my fingers every time, and I then just rinse them off. I also left it in for much longer than 1 minute, which was the recommended time. I left it in for 2-3 minutes at a time here and there. So don't panic over that either.